Greetings, family. So it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, and when I tell you I'm finally feeling a little sleepy, but this is when like my creative energy gets going. So I had to come on. I had something on my mind for a few days, and I guess it wasn't meant for me to do at the time. So I'm going to talk about it now. And I was just thinking how I'm going to be referring to my notes because I had to make a list, right? I have Africa vision right now. If you don't know what that is my term for, you know how people have tunnel vision? I have Africa vision right now. If it's not about Africa, I really don't want to hear it. Like, I am so disinterested. Okay? Like, I'm serious. So I had to come up with this because I feel like there are some people that just don't get it. They don't realize how their energy affects you. And it may not affect you, but it affects me, right? Everybody says they're an empath, but I do believe there are different levels of being an empath. And I can tell you that for me personally, I am the type of person that when I see other people going through something, immediately I'm looking for ways to fix it. I can feel it. It really resonates with me. And so oftentimes I have to nip it in the bud when it happens because I don't choose to receive that energy from people that I am not really sure about or that I don't really have a bond with. So I think at times it could be perceived as me being abrupt or being rude. And it's really not that. It's more me protecting me because nobody else is going to do that, right? I have to protect me because I know what affects me and how I process it. So, in that process, this is what I came up with. So, I'm going to bring this to you all. So, basically, I said, like I said, if it's not about Africa, I don't want to hear it because I have Africa vision right now. So, what I have to do is shut out the noise. I have to shut out the things that are not productive to me. Okay. Um, and if anybody's confused about that, I'm going to give some examples of what I'm talking about. So, for example, don't call me talking about COVID restrictions when your knowledge is based on the propaganda from the States, right? Like, you don't even listen to news delivered by African people. You don't listen to news delivered by our people. You listen to what is shown on television, or you basing your information on what you see in a newspaper. If we don't know nothing else, we know that they have controlled us through media, through propaganda. So that is most important. Um, it's interesting. I have to give an example of this. I actually called to schedule testing for traveling, the PCR COVID test. And this the traveling nurse proceeds to tell me, well, we don't do the test, but we do offer the vaccine. I said, okay, uh, that's not what I called about. So then she proceeds to tell me, well, with where you're going, you really should think about getting this vaccination and how important it is. And blah, blah. I said, like I said, I'm not interested. Okay. And then she proceeded to say, well, the numbers are very high. I said, oh, you've been to Africa. She said, no. I said, okay. Oh, because I was there in December and I'm not seeing these numbers that you're talking about. If anything, the US is infected and everybody walking around like they okay. But I didn't see that on the continent. I had to shut that down. So unfortunately, I still have to talk to her because I was going to get some information from malaria because I would like to go prepared with the pills versus looking for them when I get there and all this other kind of stuff, just in case, backup emergency type thing. So going on, so my naked one, my naked, my next one is don't ask me if I'm vaccinated because it's none of your business. That is a personal choice, a personal option. I just know that I really don't like having that discussion with people. Don't ask me to come to your infected state to hang out with you. I got people reaching out like, oh, I got to see you before you go. And I'm thinking, okay, but where you been all this time? I've been living in PA 18 years and you ain't never been here to visit. Now, all of a sudden, because you hear I'm leaving the state or I might be leaving the country, I must come visit at a time like this? I have no interest in forming no new bonds, renewing no old bonds. At this point, if you ain't coming to the continent or you're not coming to the next location, you won't be seeing me. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. My thing is, don't take the bait, right? And if you even thinking about taking the bait, rekindling friendships or whatever it is, ask about Rona. Ask if they've had Rona, if they had contact with Rona. If you don't know what Corona is, I'm talking about Corona, right? Ask them, because a lot of people have already had their bouts with the virus and they've so-called been treated. I haven't had that, so I don't even want to be around folks like that, quite honestly. Deal with your issues. You heal where you are. I hope that everything is fine with you, but I don't need to be around you. And then, like I said, you wasn't visiting before. We wasn't hanging out before. We wasn't connecting before. We don't need to do that now when I'm trying to take a clean bill of health to where I'm going for my transition period. So that's just me. Other thing is, don't question my exit plan when you don't have one. When I tell you I get some of the strangest responses or questions, people want to ask you about what you doing, what your plans, and they not going nowhere. They right here. And they not going to be going nowhere for a long time, right? But they want to question you about like, oh, well, what's your exit plan? And you don't really have an exit plan. You don't need to know my exit plan. If you haven't been following me on YouTube or podcast, listening to the podcast, you're not going to know what my exit plan is. And I don't feel a need to have to explain it to you because I don't feel like I owe you an explanation. If you really cared what it was, you'd be following the process. You'd be connecting in more of a positive way so that we can exchange information and help each other. If you're not coming from that direction, it really ain't nothing to talk about. Like, I just don't even have a whole lot of conversation. I don't want to argue. I don't want to battle with people. First of all, you're not relevant. If you was relevant, then I would take the time to do that. Outside of that, I'm not interested in explaining anything to you. Okay, moving on. Don't try to convince me that your life in the U.S. should be enough for me. Yeah, there are some people who are just so pleased with themselves and, you know, they are happy with the life that they have here in the States. Maybe they have the home that they want, the car that they want, the partner that they want. And I'm happy for them. Like, I'm happy that that's your thing, but that's not the things that I want in my life, right? There are other things that bring me peace. And if I'm choosing to pursue those things, I expect you, as a person who's supposed to care or supposed to be a friend or an associate, to respect that as well. People act like what they have should be enough for you, like something's wrong with you because you're not fitting into the mold. We all know when the Creator created us, He broke the mold, right? You one of a kind. So everybody's not going to do things the same way. The unfortunate thing is some of us do not have an identity outside of those things. Who are you without your car? Who are you without the titles? Who are you without the letters behind your name? Who are you without your man? Who are you without your children? Who are you if you weren't a mom? Are you an individual? Because it was my understanding you are this being, right? You were created. You had intentions. You had purpose. And then you find a partner that is going to enhance that. But you are always you. You are always an individual. Some of us get into situations where we become the other person. We don't know who we are without them. And that's fine if that works for you. That's not where I'm at, right? And if there's a being like that, I haven't met him, okay? And guess what? I'm not looking. I've never had to look. Not thirsty, not interested, right? Positive vibes will come if they meant to come. That's not my mission right now. It's really about business, connections, networking, meeting good people. Like I've met so many beautiful spirits, brothers and sisters on the continent and on YouTube. I've also met a lot of fake people. And I got some quotes that I came across that I have to share because when I saw these quotes, I was like, oh, I was tickled by these, y'all. Okay, so one of them was, some people are real, some people are good, and some people are fake. And some people are real good at being fake. If that ain't the truth, I was tickled by that. But my other favorite is something that one of my brothers posted. This brother posted, people don't turn fake, they been fake. They were just faking like they weren't fake. I'm going to repeat that one because I love this one. People don't turn fake, they been fake. They were just faking like they weren't fake. Come on now. You know what it is? Like Maya Angelou said, when people show you who they are, believe them, right? And once they show you, it's cool. You know that that's not the person for you. You keep your distance. They go your way, they go their way, you go yours. And it reminds me of one of my favorite songs, right? That song was, what is it? I don't fuck with you. I love that song. I love it, right? Because it says it's on point. It's like you could do whatever you want to do, live your life, but I don't have to be any part of that, right? Just like you don't have to be any part of what I do. But we could all be respectful and keep it moving in our separate directions. Had to share that one. So let's go back to this little list I have. Okay, so talked about the fake stuff. Yeah, part of that fake stuff is inconsistency. There are some people who, as long as they are receiving from you or draining your energy, they want to be all in your face. They want to be all friendly with you. I don't really dig folks like that because, I'm consistent and I could be loyal to a fault, right? If I believe in something, I am loyal to a fault. It's not till somebody cross me or they do something shady that I'm like, you know what? That's not for me. And that's all it takes is one time for me to really observe it. It's not going to happen again. I don't want nothing else to do with that situation. I'm not going to invest any more of my time or energy toward that situation, right? So that's something else to be aware of. And then you have people that are allergic to compliments. Like if you follow me on YouTube or you see any groups I'm in, which is very few, but if I come across, somebody doing something positive, my mother taught me, tell people how you feel about them while they are alive. So if I see you doing something and it moves me, I'm going to give you props. I'm like, yo, that's hot. That's cool. But guess what I'm not going to do? I'm not going to run and copy what you did. I'm not going to go and run and try to jump on a bandwagon and take credit for what you did because I lack creativity. No. You do the things you're good at. I do the things I'm good at. And I just happen to be good at many things. But I do not look at what other people do and try to mimic them or copy them or one up them. That's that crabs in a barrel syndrome, right? And thinking of that, talking about that, it made me think of this bracelet. Like I've had this bracelet. When I tell you, I was in Senegal 26 years ago. I had this bracelet made when I came back. What is this? Let's see if y'all know. That's my eye. There's Africa with the Ankh inside of it. My aunt's fans on the end. I had this made. I had this made from some old engagement rings. Yeah, that's how many engagement rings I had. This ain't no thirsty over here, right? So yeah, we have people who claim to follow the principles of Ma'at on a daily basis. And we know that's not the case, right? Because if you did, wouldn't be no room for shade. If you did, wouldn't be no room for drama. If you did, would be no room for pettiness. So just some food for thought, right? None of us are perfect, but we have to do better. We have to do better at uplifting each other and being positive. And when people are not like that, when I begin to see them as leeches, as people who have that crabs in the barrel syndrome, lacking qualities that I feel like I need in my life, then I distance myself, right? And it's not personal, right? It's definitely not personal. I just have to protect me. Like I know where I'm at in my life. I look at certain things. Like I'm also looking at who you surround yourself with, um, the energy that you entertain, and like I said, where I'm at in my spiritual journey. And if my spirit tells me don't rock with this person, or now is not the time, I just back off. I back off because, like I said, if it's not about Africa, I'm not interested. So I'm going to say to y'all, maybe some of these pointers will be helpful to you. Maybe some of these things have been happening around you and you couldn't really figure out what it was. But what I've realized is as I continue on this journey, there are fewer and fewer people that will be part of this journey. And I believe there's a reason for that. You know, we all have to come to terms with things at different times in our lives. So um, I just wanted to share that this evening. I wanted this to be something that people could use going forward as they're having this experience, not to be an attack, but just to be aware everybody is not for everybody, you know? And when you know that, get them people from around you. You don't need to be a part of that energy because it is stifling, right? So I'm going to send you blessings. If you need to review this, to take a list, notes on what these little points were, please feel free. Run through it again, stop and pause it, chew the fish, spit out the bones. Blessings, family.